You are born with a purpose. Your life on Earth has a meaning right when you were just a single cell. Your destiny is already written, you just need to find it. A desperate attempt to find something that the universe will automatically bring to you during your course of life is normal human behavior. The struggle begins right when you are in your mother's womb. Even though you will unleash the umbilical cord and take your first beautiful essence of Mother Earth, you still struggle to break through the very womb designed to nurture and prepare you for nature. The modern world is in a constant race to redefine the future. No matter what definition comes out in every attempt, the next attempt is made just to seek a better definition, and the cycle never stops. Every time we think of polishing the definition, we feel even more urge to polish it harder. The earth is constantly looking for a certain answer. Everything has to have a definite meaning. Every problem has to have a formula. Something that cannot be explained in words is always discarded or stated as non-existential. Humans have developed a complexity where they have issues trusting the process. Since the future is uncertain, the battle to find certainty becomes the only purpose of life. Do you remember the wave pool that you used to visit when you were young? The pool that constantly generates waves? If not, then close your eyes and imagine you are in that pool right now. Feel the waves hitting your body gently. They lift you up, and as it passes, you feel a satisfactory movement that makes you happy. The waves retaliate and bring you back to your feet. In this state, you are always advised to not stiffen your body and loosen it up a bit. Let the waves work their magic, and just don't do anything. That's the life we are missing out. We are obsessed with doing better. Our minds are hell-bent on seeking a machine-like perfect control over life, thinking that the more we do, the better the results. But are we actually working on the results or just the presentation of it? We are often aware that we approach life with a forceful mechanism to shove our way to happiness. Because the world has fetishized the control it believes comes from a strict measurement of everything. We dismiss things that do not have our desired level of particularity, since our understanding limits us to believe it's non-existential, and we move on to do more to achieve the desired result. The time to live happiness or success just vanishes in the attempt to do more. This doesn't mean that you stop working or being lazy. It simply means walking without touching the ground. This is the principle of not forcing. The general tendency of a normal mind is to work, strive, and exert more force in search of better. We often forget that there are times when we just take action for the sake of it, just to be in control of the situation. Does always adding more help? Why don't we just do nothing or subtract? In Taoist philosophy, a concept exists that literally says to not do, not force, wu wei. This doesn't mean that one should be lazy and stop doing everything. The concept goes way deeper than its literal understanding. The society that we live in is goal-oriented. It believes on physical results. Here's the realization of this concept becomes difficult. However, it bears a refreshing perspective for coping with chaos and stress. Wu Wei is a core theme of Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, which symbolically speaks about aligning your movement with the greater flow of life. The world we live in is constantly changing. Not just humans or their jobs or habits. Nature is in a constant state of motion. There is a natural flow to everything, which does not require an additional physical force to get certain desired results. It is easy to do nothing, but rather difficult to do something without hurting the spirit. As humans, we all have an inner will. Often we confuse our will with the tendency to strive. The process of doing completely takes a back seat because as reflective adults, we are all programmed to mix inner tension to receive a controlled outcome. We involuntarily put too much effort, not realizing the amount of toll it takes on our physical and mental being. The ancient Taoists recognized this subtle gap and developed the philosophy of Wu Wei. The idea was to find effortless expression, a state where we do action without using force. It comes out naturally. Let's say you are clicking a picture and you have dressed up beautifully. You want to flash a beautiful smile. Thinking about getting a beautiful picture, you are constantly forcing yourself to smile and not actually being happy. On the other hand, you are excited and you flash your natural smile at the camera. Here are a few poetic verses from the Tao Te Ching where Lao Tzu spread the essence of Wu Wei. The most gentle thing in the world overrides the most hard. The highest good is like water, for the good of water is that it nourishes everything without striving. The best soldier is not soldierly, the best fighter is not ferocious. Wu Wei reveals the importance of reliability in taking spontaneous actions that are in harmony with the natural flow of life. It teaches us that we don't have to be in control of the situation always. We are wasting our time and energy. Instead, it is best at times to let nature work its magic. Give it time, don't try too hard, everything will somehow fall into place. The act of not forcing or going with the flow is definitely a courageous step since we live in a society that is obsessed with speed and efficiency. Since birth, we are told to strive, to compete. A child is taught to learn the alphabet even before he goes to school. We all know that the child will eventually learn the alphabet in school, but we still try to make him learn beforehand. Everyone is in a competition, neglecting the need for balance. We do not wait for nature to work in its natural pace. Nature, while it's working in the background, serving as the foundation of human existence, calls upon our ease. Timothy Galway, in his book, The Inner Game of Tennis, beautifully offers the world a perspective on the art of not forcing. The book describes a battle between inner self one, who is the teller, and self two, the doer. When a tassel of control happens, self one, that is the teller, becomes that awfully critical voice which constantly gets in the way. Galway explains the requirement to quieten the main, more specifically the critical part. Keeping the self-critic part in mind is an important practice to keep the Wu Wei. The mind constantly fragments our inner will, disturbing the state of flow by thinking, judging, calculating, worrying, fearing, controlling, regretting, or even distracting. Very interestingly, one way of practicing Wu Wei is to learn an art form. Taoist sages and Zen masters often practiced some form of art, be it calligraphy, flute, or archery. Definitely, the sheer love of learning existed, however. More attention was given to the practice of mind control and its silent effort that would help the mind become one with the action. While practicing an art form, it becomes extremely important for the mind to be focused or remain silent. Self, too, the doer within, takes care of the rest. The positive action is self-realization now. Because if we don't realize that we are trapped in the constant battle of self-criticism, how can we get out of it? In life, adapting to Wu Wei can be tricky. Because even in our daily chores, we are in a continuous argument zone with ourselves. Even so, it's about noticing, picking our minds, everything it gets in its way. Rather than searching for a definite answer to, what is the meaning of happiness? And we should ask ourselves, what keeps us stuck in such a terrible place? Why do we punish ourselves by doing things that make us unhappy? Since childhood, we are told to act and talk in a certain way. There's nothing wrong with discipline. However, as we grow, that becomes our inner voice, which tells us that we should do things in a certain way. This voice becomes the definition of that person. It pressurizes you and forces you to demand control with the hope of someday feeling good enough. Unknowingly, you create a mental prison, limiting the entry of happiness. Our mind is our greatest strength and the biggest weakest. It introduces us to the inner tension at all moments, and sometimes out of nowhere. The art of not forcing here doesn't mean flying, it means gliding with the flow of life. It's liberating and effortless. It's the non-exerted happiness you have been longing for. When we are criticized by others, we feel bad, unaware that in our heads, we are constantly questioning our every move. That's what limits our even flow of happiness. We don't need to push ourselves to be. There is happiness in just not doing anything, letting things happen at their own pace. The more you see this within yourself, the more you begin to let go of striving to prove anything.